Hey everyone, it's Sam coming at you with another weekly astrology video. So glad that you all liked last week's forecast. We are still in the middle of the Mars, Uranus, and North Node conjunction from last week. That'll still be in effect as far as Monday goes. However, as we move through the week, that will lessen and we'll start to see a few more balancing aspects and even healing aspects coming through with Venus, with a lot of water energy from a Scorpio moon, as well as later in the week, we'll even have some strong fire trines available on Sunday with Jupiter and the Sun. So overall, we're getting back to a little bit better of a pace, a little bit more of a kind of cleanup week. And as always, I've timestamped each of the individual aspects by day in Eastern Standard Time below in the description for the video. Make sure to follow along on Facebook and Instagram, which I've also linked for daily horoscopes, so you get in-depth features as far as what the day will bring, and I will see you next week for another forecast. All right, everybody. So here we are looking at our forecast as far as Monday goes. So this is the chart of the day. We are looking at August 1st, 2022, which is a Monday at 12:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here we can see where all of the planets are at any given time. The big things to be aware of is our moon in Virgo, as well as our pileup of Mars, the North Node, and Uranus all in Taurus. So what's going to be happening on Monday is it's a big stabilization, but also destabilization day. So we had the major conjunction between Uranus and the North Node on Sunday, which was kind of breaking up the Earth of our foundation. However, as the moon in Virgo swung through overnight and made a trine to Mars, the North Node, and Uranus, there's also stitching that's happening. There's reweaving that's happening, right? So as Mars conjoins both the North Node and Uranus on Monday, we start to see, okay, we've disrupted the plan, but here's a new plan. We are moving forward. Just side note, tacky humor, moving forward. Taurus, the bull, the cow, fixed Earth. Yeah, terrible humor. Anyway, we are moving forward. Besides these conjunctions, the only other aspect on Monday is the moon opposing Neptune. So we're really trying to find order instead of more chaos. We're looking for solutions, not more problems. Monday, we need to be as direct as possible. And it wouldn't surprise me if there continue to be several reorganization opportunities, several shifts in relationships, in finance, in the physical planet, in Earth, with different natural disasters, as Uranus is known to create earthquakes, and different kind of spur of the moment eruptions and things of that nature. So Monday is probably the most problematic day, but then we start to get into days that are a lot easier to deal with. So as we move into Tuesday, we can see that Mars has shifted in front of Uranus, and that means that it has completed that conjunction, which bravo, well done, you survived. Then the moon goes into Libra, the sign of balance, which also really helps the day. Tuesday is the major cleanup day of the week. So Venus in Cancer and the moon in Libra, who is ruled by Venus, will be sweeping through, making a trine to the South Node, reminding us to purge, to release, to kind of get out of the cocoon completely. And then Venus will sextile both Uranus and Mars, and that will create just a really nice healing opportunity throughout the day on Tuesday, as the moon in Libra is also trying to find balance. So we have Venus, the kind of mender, the nurse, who's coming through in Cancer, just providing a lot of this touchy-feely, sensitive mending, and the moon in Libra, who is governed by that Venus, just trying to find balance. Other than that, the only thing that the moon is doing is a nice sextile to the sun in Leo, which is always great and supportive in the evening. There is a hiccup around 4:30-ish Eastern Standard Time when the moon does oppose Jupiter in Aries. So this is going to be a bump where we may conflict with authority figures who are on their way to backtrack, as we find this new balance. So it just depends on whether you're on the side of the old regime who is backtracking, or if you're the one who's ushering in this kind of new sense of balance. Again, think of astrology kind of like a drama, kind of like a celestial play, and everybody has a role to play. Not everybody can play the same role. So you may find yourself in one situation being the moon in Libra, providing balance and emotional senses of clarity. Whereas in other aspects of your life, you may find yourself playing the role of that retrograde Jupiter in Aries, who's really just trying to now undo the war that was done. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be our calmest day of the week, which, thank goodness, we have a lovely air aspect as we get into the moon in Libra, making a trine to Saturn later in the evening. However, midday, the moon in Libra will square Venus in Cancer. And this is something to just be aware of. Like, remember who's on your side, right? So the moon in Libra is trying to balance, Venus in Cancer is trying to heal. Both are trying to do the same thing. They're on the same team, but Libra and Cancer operate in very different ways. You know, Libra wants fair, Cancer wants biased care. So there is this kind of conflict between the two cardinal signs of air and water, but they're essentially performing the same function from two very different perspectives. So remember, like, to use a hospital example, like the doctor should not argue with the anesthesiologist, like the surgeon should not argue with the person who's putting the patient under. Like, there is going to be like, hey, we're doing the same function, just don't get pissed at me, because we all have kind of the highest good at heart. Then we move into Thursday, and Thursday's one of my favorite days of the week because we have, if we just fast forward a couple hours, we have Mercury moving into their exaltation of Virgo. So Mercury is the planet of communication, who has been transiting through Leo for the past 3-ish weeks or so. And Mercury in Leo talks a lot about dramatic communication and stepping up and coming to the forefront and being seen, and specifically being heard in a more radiant and look at me way. However, now that Mercury is moving into their ruled sign of Virgo, not only does Mercury rule Virgo, but Mercury is exalted in Virgo. It's Mercury's favorite sign to be in. So here's where the talking really gets pointed. Now is the best time to be having strategy-oriented conversations with the people in your life that are actually going to be about, what do we do moving forward? Get the 5-year plan in place. Really start to nail down all of the resources and all of the map after we just had to rewrite it. Like, put it up on the board, do some kind of vision work to understand what it is the plan looks like moving forward. So I really enjoy just that one aspect on Thursday. There will be a little bit of a bump in the early morning at about 2:18 a.m. when the moon squares Pluto, burping up some stuff from the subconscious, but hey, it's change. What are you going to do? And then as we move into the morning, we have the moon moving into Scorpio, and then just giving a little tip of the hat to Mercury in Scorpio. You know, moon goes into Scorpio, gets all kind of broody and moody and withdrawn, and just looks over at Mercury in Virgo and is like, sup. So that's great. Other than that, no aspects on Thursday, so it will be another chill day, but chill, Scorpio doesn't really do chill. It does protected exterior, turbulent interior. So this is where we really see the theme of the week start to shift from reparative to touchy-feely and emotional and intuitive, and even a little bit sloppy as we get into some of the stronger watery aspects for the rest of the week. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to Friday and see what's happening on Friday. So Friday, we can see this Scorpio moon starts to become a little bit more active. The Moon, first and foremost, in the morning will square the sun in Leo, so there will be some emotional and ego conflicts first thing on Friday. But as the moon conjoins the south node in Scorpio, it's the end of the week, and we're really going to feel like the week kicked our butts. South node is our point of purging, it's our point of letting go, and the moon conjoining that point basically means that it's time for us to emotionally dump. Right? It's time for us to really just vomit out all of the stuff, or purge the other way, all of the stuff that we've been holding on to from the week. Now, the moon will also go through the opposition of opposing Uranus, opposing Mars, as well as, because the moon conjoins the south node, it is opposing the north node simultaneously. So there is going to be this kind of very reflective, very intuitive understanding and emotional coping of what happened on Monday. It does, like some of these transits, people always ask me, how long does a transit last? And my first instinct is to ask back, like, for everybody or just for you? Because every transit's going to hit everybody differently based on where they're at, what's happening in their life, how much bandwidth they have to process these changes. And sometimes we need a couple days, a couple months, a couple years to actually understand the full impact of what's actually happening. Right? So the moon's going to give us our first dose of true reflection, not necessarily trying to fix it, but trying to understand it from a new perspective of everything that happened Sunday and Monday with the opposition. So people are just going to be in their feelings. They're going to have a lot on their internal plate. Best not to push the envelope on Friday because people will be processing a lot. Now, the moon will square Saturn at almost midnight, 11:46 p.m. Eastern Standard. And that's going to be a little bit bumpy as we are kind of delving deep into our feelings, but Saturn is asking us to be detached and impartial. So that'll be a fun little tug of war internally. Saturday is when the water starts to turn all the way up, like all the way up. So here we start to see the moon is making a trine to Neptune. The moon is making a trine to Venus. Venus will make a trine to Neptune on Sunday. So we have all of the water kind of coming in at this time. And this is where our water trines start to bring forward all the feeling, especially in the early morning. Moon will trine Venus and then trine Neptune. It's going to be a great day for dream work. If you wanted to, on Saturday night, Friday night into Saturday night, do some dream work, do some kind of divination, it would be a perfect time for you to do that. As the moon transitions into Sagittarius, though, we start to flip the script from water to fire, and we start to see a lot more heat in the skies moving into Sunday, which will bring about more activity, more doing, less feeling and kind of moping and internal reflecting, and we'll be in that kind of go, go, go mindset. And as the moon makes a square to Mercury in Virgo, we may have some issues with that transition on Saturday. So just really be clear on your communication. Make sure to double, triple check your details for any Saturday night plans, because it seems like what the head thinks and what the heart thinks will be two very different things. And finally, as we move on to Sunday, Sunday is, I love when a plan comes together, because not only do we have the moon making a trine in Sagittarius to the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, but the moon in a fire sign will also be making a fire trine to the sun in Leo. It is the sun's day. It is the sun in Leo, his home sign, and the moon is being ruled by a benefic. Really, really great, lucky, radiant, charismatic, dramatic, passionate day for us to really just sink our teeth into and roar. Fabulous. However, there is more water. We do have around noon Venus and Cancer trining Neptune. So we are still healing. We're just in the more active phase of healing where we need to take the feelings and do something about it, right? Because emotions are just energy in motion. So we need to make sure that we're not holding on to things, that we are taking the time to give them space to feel, but then we are actually putting them to use. And that's what all that fire is really asking us to do, is to burn off the fuel that we've been kind of accumulating through the yin of Scorpio. And then as we move into the end of Sunday, Mars and Taurus will square Saturn and Aquarius. Remember to stop when you feel tired. Remember that Mars and Taurus is all about sustainable action. The minute that action becomes no longer sustainable, take the advice from Saturn, take the loss, step back and really question whether or not you need to move forward at this time, or whether this chess game can be extended and you can make some moves over the long term instead of just trying to do everything at once. So that is going to be our forecast. Again, I have timestamped all of these below in the comments. So really make sure that you take a look, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know how your week went last week, and if it matched up with last week's forecast. Also, tune back into the video and the channel for next week when we go through the same things. Follow on Facebook and Instagram for in-depth dailies and the daily horoscope. And I will see you next week when the stars next align.